why I just always get so excited when I can actually get it to go live. Good morning, everyone. Tanya with Back to Basics, and I'm here with a very special guest this morning for our Coffee Talk Live Friday. This is our second one this September. Meet Mrs. Rachel Michael. Rachel is a professional, personal stylist. That's a mouthful for me. And your title might be something better, but that's how I know you guys.
No, that's fantastic.
I'll let you do a little introduction because you and I just met this past year. So yeah. I don't know a whole lot of fun little things about you that we're going to unravel today. I'm super excited.
Yeah. I am a personal stylist. That's just what I call myself. And then I always say the caveat, not for hair, because you don't want me near your hair. I work with clothes and image. And really, I help women lean into wearing what they love so they can feel amazing and look amazing too. And also I do that through wardrobe edits and shopping sessions and styling sessions to help them mix and match and create looks. So I am a little bit different than a personal stylist that you might think of because I don't do color analysis. I don't talk about body types or shapes at all. I don't have rules or checklists or do's or don'ts for clients because I think that's why style is frustrating and why it's not fun is because we get really boxed into things we think we should wear or have to wear based on we want to look a certain way or we were told that because we have a certain body, we can't wear that or a certain shape. And so I'm really just all about like, what do you love? What lights you up? And then let me help you wear that in a way that feels really good for you.
That's really cool. At first, okay, so two things I took away from there. One, I don't know why you wouldn't want to be by anybody's hair. Look at your hair. It's like on point. Every time I see you, it's just like this model hair. And guys, before we went live, I asked her how long it took her to do this beautiful hairstyle this morning. She's like, kind of woke up like this. I'm like, I hate that. That's awesome. You could touch my hair. Go ahead. Second thing, I love that you don't like box people into shapes, sizes. How about ages?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I feel sometimes when I wake up in the morning, everybody raise your hand if you feel this way, like anybody's watching right now. It's too early. But do you go through these like moments where some days you feel 15 years older than you are, and some days you feel 15 years younger than you are? Or I feel like I'm a certain age, like I'm feeling really good, and then I look in the mirror and go, oh, hell no. What is that? We're the only one. Do you ever experience that? You're so young yet, but
no, I mean, I definitely have my moments. And not just when it comes to age, but everybody has their moments when they get up in the morning, they're like, oh, I feel like crap today. Or I don't like how I look today. Yesterday I might've been feeling amazing about, I might've thought like, God, I have the best butt in the world. And then today I put on some jeans and I'm like, oh my God, this looks terrible on my butt, or whatever. So everybody goes through ups and downs like that. And I mean, I always say dress for your desire, not your day. So like, don't dress for how you wake up feeling, but dress for how you want to feel.
Hey, that's a pretty good, I gotta remember that. That's a really good tip. Yeah. It's kind of like that, when my kids are feeling really down. I don't know if you've ever done this, but this is something I learned when I was a kid, and I don't even remember where I picked it up from, or if I just innately started doing it. I'm sure I heard it in passing someplace, but when I was feeling like, or anxious, or just really down on myself, I'd get in front of a mirror. And for some people, that just sounds right. That first sentence just sounds like a nightmare. But I would get in front of a mirror and I would force myself to smile in the mirror. And you are awesome. And I would just keep saying positive things with this forced smile. And one of two things would happen. Either one, I'd really start feeling that, or two, I'd start laughing at myself for looking like an ass in the mirror. But either way, it broke that momentum and it changed what was happening the rest of the day. It just put me in a different mindset or a different mood. So I guess you're doing the same with clothes, just in a less goofy way.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah, definitely. But I love that you do that because aren't there all those statistics out there, and I don't know them, but that say like, if you smile, like it can trigger it, even if you're super sad, if you watch like a cat video and you laugh, like it'll lift your mood. I think there's a bunch of studies out there about that.
Yeah.
When it comes to clothes, it's always like, okay, our instinct, which makes sense, right? The instinct is like, I'm so tired today, so I'm gonna throw on this sweater. I don't even have time to think about what I want to wear. I just am gonna, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with
Exhibit
that.
A.
I will say there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Because it's not like, if you want to like comfort yourself in that way, that's amazing and totally legitimate. But like, then it's like our instinct to do that. But what would happen if instead you put on the brightest color in your closet? Like the thing that is like the opposite of what you think, because there's so much about like the psychology of color. And even how like color can impact your mood. So like, that's what I suggest when somebody's really tired. It's like, put on a super bright color. And see how that impacts your day, or put on like a piece that you love that you would normally save for a day when you had more energy. And just it's crazy how as the day goes on, it does impact it, because clothes are this powerful tool, but we just think about them as this frustrating thing, or many people do, as something they have to do. Right? You have to put on clothes every day.
If you go back old school, whenever you would go into old school office, dress code was suit and tie. For women, it was some type of a power suit or something more dressy. Well, then that kind of relaxed to semi-dressy with jeans. And now I feel like in this backlash of COVID that people are used to going with an okay top and pantsless on the bottom. And I keep going back to that commercial where I can't even remember what the commercial was for, to be honest with you, but it was this couple sitting out on a patio, the wife waiting for her husband to come out to communicate with this couple to, is this ringing a bell? And he comes out in his tighty whities, the husband, and he doesn't even see the people on the patio, and he's turned around, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he turns around and he's surprised. He goes, "Oh, I thought it was a Zoom thing."
No, I haven't seen that, but that sounds amazing.
Oh my God, that is unfortunately some of my life around here. I promise I have pants on this morning, but there are people, yes, in the house. So yeah, I just feel like that if we go back to that psychology of things, and people would be so upset about these dress codes and just let us relax and get comfortable. But you do see kind of the slack off attitude when you're not prim and proper. There is a mindset, there is a psychological aspect to it. You're right. So I find that interesting. What made you decide to get into styling, specifically personal styling?
Yeah. When people ask like, how'd you get into styling or everything? I'm like, well, let me go back to like the day I was born, because it's something I've always been interested. I feel like I just came out of the womb and I was like, style, clothes. No, I don't know. But it was it was like the little fashionista in our family. And like, I don't come from a family of fashionistas or anything. Like, and they're amazing. And I'm not saying they're not stylish, but they're not, like, it wasn't a thing growing up. I just like had this interest. And so I would try to play Barbies, but I would only ever get as far as dressing them for whatever I was trying to do. Like, let's go camping. Okay, here's what they're gonna wear, and that was like what I did.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was definitely an interest of mine, and I would like my poor mom, bless her heart, I would drag her around the mall for hours when I was trying to look for something I wanted to wear, because I would have this vision in my head, and I like would not stop until I found it. So I think that's like, it just stems from kind of a natural instinct or a natural interest. But as I got older, I was kind of a skinny little gangly kid, right? And as I hit puberty, got older, I gained a lot of weight in a short amount of time. And I mean, not just like the natural kind of gaining curves and things that happens, but I was like a junior 5, and all of a sudden I was a junior 13.
Oh, that's a big change overnight.
A big change in a span of months. And so all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh. And because I feel like I had really, like the society, in that generation, it was all about like thinness, and it was, it was the Kate Moss era. It was like all those things. And you're reading what were the teen magazines called? Whatever they were.
You had the supermodels in your face all the time.
And it was low-rise jeans, and it was little cami tops that had nothing to them, and belly bearing. And I just basically had told myself, without even really knowing it until I gained all this weight, that I could only have fun with clothes and I could only wear what I loved if I had the body for it.
Yeah.
And the body for it was that super thin body, at the time was what I believed or have been conditioned to believe. So once I gained that weight, I totally like 180 away from style. And I just wore jeans and a hoodie. And that was all I knew how to do. And maybe a t-shirt if it was really warm out, so like I just basically covered up because I was like, I just want to like keep this covered because I'm kind of embarrassed and ashamed. And I like clothes and style aren't for me anymore, right? Like I can't do that.
I can completely relate with what you're saying right now. Very similar, except now I've just really kind of lost all control. So when did you decide to make this a career? So you get through high school, which is a really tough time for a young girl, and to already recognize that you're having some body image challenges. And then college, that's a whole different. Now, luckily people in college, I think, are more mature and sometimes don't pay attention to that, but that transition can be tough. How did you?
Yeah, so I went from, grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota. So I feel like I went from like not a small high school by any means. My graduating class was 450 or something, but smaller.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Arizona and went to Arizona State, and that's a college of 50, 60,000, right? So like my freshman class was 10,000. So it was huge. So it was good for me in the way that you kind of got like lost in a good way in the crowd of people where there weren't cliques and there weren't all these like pressures and things going on. You could just find your friend and be yourself, right?
Yeah.
Your group of friends. And so when I got out there, 120-degree heat in the summer, I had to figure something else out. Jeans and a hoodie, jeans and a tee was like hot. But I still like held myself to a lot of those rules. So like I didn't wear shorts ever. I would like be okay with a skirt or a dress. And I would try like not to show my arms, so I did all that stuff. But I think I started that way. And then I think just slowly progressing into like having a really good group of friends and not feeling like in a high school where everyone's judging you and looking at you, you could kind of get lost in the crowd here. And that gave me some freedom. Right. And so I started to slowly kind of step back into dressing a little bit more stylish and wearing more things. But at the same time, I was still dressing. I mean, I was all in on body shapes and what I should wear for my pear shape. And I was all in on, I like that, but I don't look great in that, or this I have to wear because I look thin, or this is what's going to make me look thinner, whatever. And so I did that for a long time through college, after college. And I moved up to Minneapolis when I was, late 20s. And just for a change of pace, change of scenery, be closer to family, try some different things. And I was doing event planning. That was my career. So I went into college for public relations. I did PR for a nonprofit and then transitioned to event planning. So that was like kind of then what I carried forward was event planning. So that's what I was doing. And fast forward a few years, I was working at a medical professional liability insurance company.
Wow, that is like a huge, completely different.
Yeah. So very different. I was doing like board retreats and, board meetings and executive team building or strategy sessions or whatever, planning that for them. And I saw that Stitch Fix, which is an online personal styling service, was hiring for part-time stylists in Minneapolis. And I like had that awakening of, oh my God, that's the thing I used to love to do way back when. And I want to try doing that again. Like that would be so fun because, that current job wasn't exactly fueling me, right? So I applied for that.
Yeah, you just don't seem like a.
Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, I got the creative part through the event planning, but it was like a very interesting field to be in. And so I got the part-time stylist job and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was with the original group of 50 stylists when they launched the Minneapolis market for hiring stylists.
Okay.
And so I styled part-time for them. And of course I loved it because it was this thing I'd always loved. And within 9 months, I quit my full-time job and I was a full-time stylist with Stitch Fix. And then a couple months later, I was actually hired as a team lead. So I was promoted into the lead role and had a team of stylists. And so that's what I did for 5 years is I managed a team of stylists. I would style my own clients. I would interview, hire, train, and coach these other stylists as well. So I got a lot of experience during my time there. And that was when I was like, yeah, whatever I do going forward, like styling is going to be a part of it. That was just when I kind of made that decision because it was just, I loved it so much. And as I got further on, it was, the role was very much management versus styling. And so I was kind of missing that like styling love.
The creative
And
side of it.
yeah. And I feel like I was working a lot of hours. I was feeling like very burnt out, and I wasn't sure like what I wanted to do, but style had to be in there somewhere. So then I kind of started thinking about, when I was younger and how I would envision having Stacey London's job on what not to wear.
Oh yeah,
And like,
she's
that would be
amazing. I love her. She's a hoot.
Yeah, she was a her and Clinton. And I was kind of thinking like, well, what could I do like that? And I've always like had an entrepreneurial spirit, but been too scared to go for it. And so I think I just like combined with knowing style is what I want to do. This isn't it. There are really no other style options unless I work at a retail store, which isn't going to be my jam. And so I just decided like, yeah, let's like go ahead and try to start this business and see what happens, where I can work with women one-on-one. And actually go in the closet and actually see like what's going on. Because when you send 5 pieces of clothing to someone you've never met or seen,
yeah,
could be great, but it's like you can do so much more. Like there's so much more. Like like if you just
what's already there to work with. Yeah.
Yeah, like what's like you might get some new clothes and great, but at the end of the day, like what's actually missing in your closet or what's actually going on that is causing getting dressed to be so frustrating or is
I
causing
think when you and I talked that
Yeah.
one time we met at a coffee shop, and you were telling me a little bit about this story and kind
Yeah.
of that transition between the Stitch Fix and going off on your own, and it clicked. Number one, you and I are both creatively driven. We
Yes.
both have anxiety about being out in the front, except that's what our jobs really kind of require, our career path, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And we like to both take this holistic approach to things. So I really
Yeah.
connected with you on that, and you're just so damn personable and easy to talk to. Why, when you decided to step away from Stitch Fix, what year was that?
Well, I really kind of started having the inkling in end of 2018.
Okay, so just a few years ago. And what
Mhm.
was kind of the catalyst for you? Because I talk to a lot of women who are in that same position. Like there's this inner passion, but there's at the same time, there's this fear kind of pushing that passion down and saying, nope, don't do this. Nope, this isn't the right time. Nope, you're gonna fall on your face. Nope, you don't have enough stuff lined up. There's all these voices. So what was it for you that was like, Rachel, get out?
Yeah, for me, it was really that saying, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, that's when you go for it, right? So there was just a point at the end of 2019 where I was so unhappy in my job and I was so miserable. There's a lot of things going on. And I just was like, I can't do this anymore. Like it was just I was like, I can't. This is like, I'm frustrated. I am miserable. It's bleeding over into every area of my life. And this is like not what I'm done. It was just kind of like, you hit a part where you just like where I got so frustrated with what I was happening at work. And just because I had started to envision this business, it was like, it wasn't like I'd be leaving not knowing what was going on. It was like, do I want to put up with all of this? Or do I want to like go feed my passion?
Yeah.
And that it became so painful to stay there to me and my personal happiness and my health, that it was like, I'll take that risk and I'll go try the business, because it was something I was really passionate about and had been for a long time. And so that to me seemed like it would be worth, the risk or the pain of change at that point.
I talked to, again, a lot of women have a similar story from kind of that high level overview. Where do you ever feel like, I got to rewind my mind. Sometimes it takes me a second to click in. So when we, especially for people in kind of creative fields, we have this thing that drives us, right? And we don't feel comfortable in that normal 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, very repetitive type of business or work, whatever. We like kind of that change up, right? That flow, that freedom and creativity and coming to go. Whether we follow somebody else's business in that path or we start our own, there's this point of elation that we're doing what we love. And then all of a sudden, I feel like there's this break point, like there's a major decision to be made. Do I continue doing this because now all of a sudden it's becoming this very systematized thing because there are certain things you have to do to run a business. There's the finance side of it. There's the legal side of it. There's the management of other employees. And so I feel like some women can push through that and they become these moguls, right? And then there's other people, I was on that trajectory at one point in my life. And I just was like, I'm so far away from where my passion is right now. I just can't do this. And I pulled all the way back to the skins and started over. And now I still feel like there's this pressure from people around me to go bigger, go bigger, go bigger. But every time you go bigger, there's that excitement in the moment, but there is a lot more responsibility and a lot more commitment and a lot more stress and a lot more of everything that comes with that starts to dampen what drove that passion to begin with. So for me, I don't have the desire. And for some people, they think that that's kind of laziness or fear. But for me, it's a comfort thing. I just don't have that desire to be these big box business agency, whatever, whatever it might be. I might want like a little team at some point, but I feel like there's that, am I like I'm talking in circles, but does that sound familiar? Did you ever feel like you were going through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I started my business, after I had left Stitch Fix, I was like, I want to just be a solopreneur, and solo in every sense was a word, right? Because I was so burned out on managing, and I was so burned out on like the big companies and things like that. And I was like, I just want to work for myself and not have that responsibility to be, holding anybody else responsible or, whatever. So that was like initially my intention, was like, I just want that. And I'm almost 2 years into my business full time now. And I'm having the inkling of like, yeah, I want to build out a small team. So I think it could be different for everyone. Sounds like it was different for you. I'm never going to be a Stitch Fix. I don't want to have a company like that. I don't want to have a company like Amazon that changes the world. Like, like I don't have those grand, if you will, ambitions. I just want to have like a really solid company. And I'm making that shift lately of realizing like, if I add a small team and build that out, I can do more of what I love. So I'm looking at it a little bit differently than in the beginning, where I was like, I just want to work for myself because I don't want responsibility, I want pressure. And that was coming from a very burnt out stage of mind. And not that it sounds like it's not for you, but that's where it was coming from for me. And so
no, I think that was the very same cycle that we're going through. And now I'm like, maybe I want that little team, but now I'm being very picky about the people on that team, because I want us to be in that same mindset. I don't want that, let's go 50 big, I want a solid, healthy work ethic, but a very collaborative atmosphere. And I don't want to be, like you said, the Amazon. I don't want to be the big agency that I feel like I have to compete against in today's market in Minneapolis. I want to hold true to whatever that mission was and still love the work that I do when I come in here in the morning, because I was like you, I had team members under me, and God, the stress and I'm like, you know what? This is not what I signed up for.
And I think it's interesting because like the stress for me too, like I actually like leading and managing people. The stress for me came from above, the way they wanted us to manage, which just was not my style and went against my values, quite frankly.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
And that's where I was feeling so conflicted. And that was part of the reason at the end that like, okay, now I cannot stay here, because this is such a conflict with who I believe I am and how I want to treat people, and how I want to manage people. And so that was on my mind too. But I've hired a virtual assistant. I've had her for several months now. And just through that, and she only does 10 hours a month, so it's small, but just through that, I realized like, oh, wow, it's totally different when I'm only responsible. Like I'm not getting directives from somebody else. Like I can manage and lead and respond to things how I want to and assign work how I want to. And you know what I mean? And all those things. I'm like, wow, this feels very different. So that's what got me on the path of like, oh, I could build out a small team and I think I would really actually enjoy it, versus like that whole like resistance to it before.
So how are you working with, because I think that's another, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I know that's another question that people have when they're looking to grow their business without like, is how do I bring on somebody like a virtual assistant? What was the methodology that you used to find who you did? And as a creative person, what kind of things are you tasking out that they're taking off your plate so that you can be more productive?
Yeah. So I wish I could remember her name, but she is a mentor to virtual assistants. And so she has
Okay.
a program or like a school, where she walks them through how to start their business and all that kind of stuff. And so she offers this free service of connecting you with VAs. And so I filled out
Okay.
a form and said what I was looking for, how many hours and what I wanted them to do, all that stuff. And then she sent me 3 virtual assistants, and I set up interviews with each of them, and then
Okay.
interviewed all 3 and then chose my final one. Again, just based on who I connected with, who I thought, questions about responsibility and reliability and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really pretty seamless for me. And it was really great to have it narrowed down, because I tried searching for probably like a week VAs, and they're actually really hard to find online, because there's, unless they're huge with SEO, it's like just difficult to find them. But now I'm having her do, it was great. I mean, the first couple months are onboarding, so it's really like a lot more work initially.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's really smooth and saves me a lot of time. And I have her do things like schedule and post my social media,
Okay.
figure out all the hashtags for it, right? And post those too. I have her, I was doing style classes, and so I would have her set up the registration and the website page and all that kind of more admin-y stuff.
Okay.
I switched over to a new website, so I'm having her transfer like the blogs from my old website once a week, instead of putting them all on there at once, to help with SEO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have her write my newsletters, or put them together, schedule them, send them out. I have her work on little projects. So like I want to write like a exit flow email for clients.
What is that? Exit
Once
I've
once
never
a
heard
client's
that
like,
term.
well, yeah, I guess I just made it up. But clients who clients who finish
Let's coin that.
yeah, perfect patent. Clients who finish working with me, I want to have like a flow set up where every month for a few months they'll get an email from me, just like a thank you, how are things feeling? Like if you need additional support, here's some
Oh,
ways you can continue to work with me in the future
nice.
when you're ready.
Yeah.
Or so having her write and draft that for me. I do little like end of session wrap up thank you gifts, and I'm working more with virtual clients now. So I wanted to have her research like, well, what can I send them as like a thank you gift, since I'm not in person with them. So it's really just kind of thinking about either what I don't want to do, like scheduling social media posts, or like what I need to do, but just am not like prioritizing. So
Okay.
like searching that client gift or writing that exit flow email.
And how do you feel in your own personal life now that you've taken and had this person come in and kind of alleviate some of those tasks for you?
It feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely feels great.
So
And
like
like,
clear your head so you can
yeah.
be more creative again.
Well, and it's that part where you don't want to like start to hate your business, right? And
Right.
that's like, I think the way not to do that for me, I felt like it's been get people in here to do the things that would make me hate my business, which would be like the little admin things that I don't want to do, or certain things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking about.
When you interviewed them, did you have a clear idea of every specific task you wanted them to do? Or were you just kind of like, there's some things, and then it just kind of progressed and grew into this working relationship? Because I think
I
that's another sticking point for people. They just don't know
yeah,
where to start with somebody
yeah.
like that.
I had some clear things laid out. So I actually sat myself down and I was like, what do I want to take off my plate that I feel comfortable delegating to someone else? And so I had some clear things set out, and I also had a clear like budget. Like I don't want to spend more than this. So based on their hourly rate, which I knew before I interviewed them, like how many hours a month they do. And then I could connect and say like, well, here's what I want you to work on. Like I want you to social media, newsletters, that kind of stuff. Here's like my hours. So I had some of that stuff set out. But like things like these extra projects, like those weren't things I initially envisioned. So like as I got more comfortable with her, because your business is your baby, right? As I got more comfortable with her and delegated some things, and it was like, oh yeah, she's doing great. That feels awesome that I don't have to do that. And it looks amazing and fantastic. Then you get comfortable being like, well, what if she also did this? So like, I think it's helpful to have from the beginning, like a few key things that they would take off your plate, that person, and then it can evolve also.
That's
So you don't have to have it all figured out, but I think because like if I had hired someone who didn't know anything about social media, and then I decided I wanted them to do social media, that would probably be like not a
That
good
would be
situation.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be challenging. So you have to kind of know, I think.
So how are you in your skin today? You've gone through this big transition. You had admittedly when you were younger had some body image challenges. Where does Rachel sit today in life? How are we feeling today?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel good. I probably feel better about my body than I ever have, and my self-image and body image. And a lot of it is just honestly working with clients and like appreciating every body type, because you always can tell people they're beautiful. It's harder to tell yourself. But working with clients and just seeing like their struggles and being like, what, you're kidding, like you look amazing. And it like just gives you appreciation for all types of bodies, including your own. And then I'm a big self-development, personal growth person. So I'm always listening to podcasts. My favorite right now are the Life Coach School podcast by Brooke Castillo, and then Un-F Your Brain. I mean, it's called something else.
I think I've heard that before.
It's really, really good too. And then I also listen to these sisters. I can't remember their names. Their Instagram handle is Beauty Redefined, and they have this book called More Than a Body. Your body is an instrument, not an ornament.
Okay.
And so just like continuing to give myself these messages about like, we are not how we look, right? Like that is the least important thing about us.
I still have that in my head.
Yes, because that's how we're conditioned in a society. We condition women that they are valued by how they look, and that is the value of their contribution to society in so many conscious and subconscious ways. And so I continue to do the work about getting rid of those beliefs just through different things. And that More Than a Body book has been incredible. And I know it sounds so like contradictory as a personal stylist who focuses on someone's clothes and what they wear and their appearance on the outside, to say like how you look is the least important thing about you. But I really focus on, that's why I don't do body shapes, or I'm not trying to get somebody to look better in society's terms. It's why I'm like, what do you love? Because when you put that on and you wear it, you're going to feel better. It's about how you feel. It's about the internal benefits that will just help you love yourself more, right? So that's like why I work with personal style and why I work with clothes, is not to make somebody look better so they can be thinner and like they lost 20 pounds. Like it's so that they can see, they can have fun with clothes, they can feel amazing, right? So it's like more about that for me, because clothes are something you have to put on every single day. So you might as well use it as a tool that will help you feel better.
Well, you have to wear them to function outside of your
doors.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Little truth bomb for you today, folks. Rachel, I know you've got some place to be, so I want to be respectful of that time, but I could talk to you for hours. You're just
same. I could talk to you too.
You're just a very open, easy person to talk to, and I feel like there's so much more about your background that we could dig into, but I want to be respectful of that time. So if somebody wanted to connect with you that's watching this, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah. So my website is rachelmichael.com, and
that's pretty easy.
Pretty easy, right? Yeah, there are options on there to reach out to me or set up a call with me. If they're an Instagram person, I'm at Rachel Michael Styling. So that's another great area to follow along, get some inspiration, DM me if they want to get in touch with me. Those are the two main areas.
And I'm going to put that website address somewhere on here, folks, because we know there's multiple ways to spell Rachel and Michael's. And I had to double check with her this morning. I wasn't screwed up her name. So I'll put it there so that you have a clear address to get to, because I think it's worth having a conversation with her, getting to know her and the people that she knows. And yeah, I love you.
Oh, same.
Much love. All right. Well, you have a blessed day. I know you're off and running to another appointment. One of these days, I'm going to get myself out of this office and in front of you. And we're going to go through, actually, I'd probably have you come over here and rip my closet apart.
Oh, yeah.
That's another story.
My favorite. Love that. I bet you have fun clothes too, though.
Yeah. I have clothes from high school. I'm like, there's history here. I can't let this one go.
Love it.
All right, my dear. You have a blessed day. Thank you so much for being with us today. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.